I keep forgetting I moved my camera because I keep wanting to read my documents, but when the camera's on the phone or I go like this, and I don't want people to just see my forehead. So, what's up?
You should put like little eyeballs up there.
And we are recording and live on YouTube now.
Yeah, we are.
Good evening, everybody. What's up?
We still have a couple minutes though before we can call to order. All right, so it is 7 p.m. As SEO had indicated, Councillor Miro might be a few minutes late, but we can call to order. The first item on tonight's agenda is a moment of silence. Every year on April 28th, we remember all the workers who have died, been injured, or suffered illness as a result of work-related incidents, and we renew our commitment to creating safer workplaces. Awareness of workplace safety can save lives. So please join me in a minute of silence. Thank you, everyone. So we can move to our agenda. We do have an addition tonight, item 8.7, which is the Midnight Sun Complex Pool Rehabilitation Project. And just an item of note on item 8.5, which was the request for donation of the community hall. The request has been taken back. They did find another location to host the healing circle. So if there are no other changes to the agenda, I will look for an adoption, please. I'll look for a mover. Moved by Councillor Salatki, seconded by Councillor Wood. Any other discussion on the item? Seeing none. All right, all in favor? Thank you. Item number 3, excuse me, declaration of conflict of interest or pecuniary interest. Councillor Salatki.
I'm not sure now if it's 8.5 since Midnight Sun Complex was removed, or if it's still 8.6, but with the partnership between the greenhouse and the Harder's Land, I'm going to declare conflict for that section.
And Councillor Wainman.
8.1 on the sign.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Loreen.
8.1, the disposal of the end of the road sign.
Okay, thank you very much. On to number 4, delegations, presentations, or petitions. We do not have any this evening. And neither do we have any public question period submissions. So I see Councillor Miro has joined us. Just have to rearrange my screen here. All right, so we'll move on to adoption of the minutes of the April 12th and 14th, 2021 council meeting. I'll look for a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Wood, seconded by Councillor Loreen. Any questions or comments on the minutes? Seeing none. All in favor?
In favor.
Thank you. And on to the action items list. Were there any questions or comments on the list this evening? Seeing none. And on to 8.1, the disposal of the end of the Dempster Highway sign. We have had councillors Loreen and Wainman declare on this item, so I will ask them to both turn off their screen as they will not be part of this conversation. Thank you. And so the request before council is to choose from the 2 submissions that we have received. We did have Deputy Grand Chief Christine McLeod and NETAD President Kelly McLeod on the call on Monday night. So at this time, I will look to council for conversation or I guess a name to put forward to then move a recommendation. Deputy Mayor Barlick.
I would probably just concur with Councillor Miro's comments on Monday that I am inclined to support the joint Gwitchin proposal. I think they made a good case to put forward their idea and the reasons for it. And I particularly like the idea of engaging the youth in some of the restoration of the sign and things like that. So I'd be supportive of the Gwitchin's joint proposal to remove the sign.
Okay, thank you. Seeing a nodding head from Councillor Salatki. Councillor Wood, you can go ahead.
Notice my hand disappears if I move it over.
Oh.
I think both proposals have merit, and I think I guess you could say their hearts are in the right place as far as the placement of the sign, preservation of it. However, I do concur with Deputy Mayor Barlick's summation of the Gwitchin proposal, and I'm in favor of that one.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Miro, if you could just come forward as well again.
I would like to thank Councillor Wayman for putting in the proposal, because I think his intent was to make sure that piece of history was saved. But I think with the Gwitchin connection to the Dempster Highway and their role in actually leading the first surveyors to mark out the highway on their traditional trail, I think we honor it best by having it go to the Gwitchin. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So recommendation then, it would be that Inuvik Town Council hereby approves the proposal for relocating the current end of the Dempster Highway sign to the old Mackenzie Valley construction lot, with all costs and liabilities to be covered by the Gwitchin Tribal Council and the NETAT Council. I'll look for a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Salatki and seconded by Councillor
I'll second
Wood.
that.
Oh. All right, and all in favor?
Yes.
That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Councillors Loreen and Wainman, if you wanted to come back on screen, you're welcome to now. So item 8.2 is the audited financial statements, which were presented on Monday night to council. Recommendation is that Inuvik Town Council hereby approves the 2020 audited financial statements as presented. I'll look for a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Wood, seconded by Deputy Mayor Barlock. Questions or comments on the statements? Councillor Miro, go ahead.
No, I'm just waiting to vote.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, with that, we'll call all in favor.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. On to item 8.3, the naming municipal facilities and parks policy amendments that were requested. There were a couple amendments made since Monday night that came from the conversation we had then. So we'll get the policy on the table and then we can discuss further if required. Recommendation is that Inuvik Town Council hereby adopts the amended Town of Inuvik naming municipal facilities and parks policy F008 as presented. I'll look for a mover, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor Barlock and seconded by Councillor Salatki. Any questions or comments further on this item? Councillor Salatki, go ahead.
I did have one on the committee situation. We just recently decided that we were not going to be holding extra committees from now until October. And I'm just wondering, is it really necessary to start a committee this state of the year? And also, is this not something that could be done on an as needs basis in council? It doesn't seem like this is something that comes up all that often.
I might be, can be corrected here if I'm wrong, but I think that the first meeting to be called wouldn't be until it was required. And then we would move forward on the twice a year from there. But I'll just look to SEO Hood to confirm that.
Basically, as with the wording we put in there is to make it so that if there is no submissions, the committee doesn't meet. Again, the reasoning we've struck or are looking at having this committee is because of the importance of naming, getting community input into it to be presented to council. So it's more of an advisory board function in many ways and it's just going, what it is just helping council and just presenting and having the discussions of here's what we feel are approved or names that should go on the list. Council still has the final decision and would should there be naming having to be done. But it is more for getting the public input into it. And I don't anticipate there'd be that many meetings that we would have.
Thank you, SEO Hood. Does that answer your question, Councillor Salaki? Yeah, okay, great. Any further questions on this item then? Seeing none, all right, we'll call to a vote. All in favor?
Yeah.
Thank you. And on to item 8.4, amendments to the Town of Inuvik Civic Address Standards and Guidelines Policy. Again, there was a few adjustments made since Monday. Recommendation is that Inuvik Town Council hereby approves the amended Civic Address Standards and Guidelines Policy FP009 as presented. Look for a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Wood. And a seconder, please. Seconded by Councillor Wainman. Any questions or comments on the policy? Deputy Mayor Barlock.
Yeah, I had a quick look at this one too in the revisions there. In this new version we got, it still actually needs to change section 8.3 to word match the section 8.1 in the revision we just made about the 2 meetings a year. the revision in section 8.3 in this version was not included. So as long as they use the same wording we just passed in the other document, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
So
That, yes, sorry, that was our intent.
yes, it just wasn't
Okay.
actually in the version we got. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. So with that change then, any other questions or comments on the item? No, then we can call to a vote. All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Item 8.5 does no longer require a decision as they found a different location. So on to item 8.6, sorry, I'm out of order here. All right, the annual spring cleanup activities. We did have Councillor Salatki declare conflict on this item. And so out of the conversation on Monday night, we discussed whether to pull out the second point about commercial and industrial users. So that is still a option to council here if you wanted to vote forward or move forward on the other points and have a discussion on that specific one. I just look for direction from council on whether you'd like to separate that one item out. Deputy Mayor Bartlett.
I think based on the information we got and the suggestion we've had to undertake an comprehensive review of the landfill operations and stuff, I would probably just leave the free tipping in there at this point in time. I think with the information we got shows that it was not as big an impact as was initially suggested. And I'd be comfortable to leave that item in there for the time being, understanding that it may be part of this, again, comprehensive review we're looking to undertake for the whole landfill operation. So that's my suggestion.
Great, thank you. I'm happy to hear from anyone else. Oh, Councillor Wood, go ahead.
I just wanted to say I agree with Deputy Mayor Barlick. I want to thank administration for the extra information. It's based on what I had Monday night. I thought maybe a deal of some kind should be made for commercial, but now I've completely changed my mind. I think we should maintain the status quo.
Okay, great, thank you. Yeah, Councillor Wainman, go ahead.
I'm in the same opinion after administration gave us all the information, and it's not as drastic as it was brought out to be. It looks good. And I think in Inuvik's history, the spring cleanup, a lot of people look forward to it, whether it's a business or whether it's a residential or anything. And I think our rules are fairly fair and clear. So I thank the administration for pointing out in the last how many years what was dumped there, because none of us were quite sure. That's good information. And I like to keep Inuvik clean. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, so I will put the recommendation on the table then, as was written from Monday night. So that recommendation is that Inuvik Town Council hereby approves of the following spring cleanup activities for 2021. Free tipping for residential users from May 22nd to June 6th. Free tipping for commercial and industrial users from May 22nd to June 6th, with the exception of construction and demolition debris and hazardous materials. 2 weeks, May 22nd to June 6th, will be scheduled for large item residential pickup. Sponsorship of the Community Beautification Contest with categories for residential, commercial, and industrial properties. Support for the annual Community Zone Cleanup. Support for the continuation of the Water Rebate Program. Support for the continuation of the Graffiti Hotline Program. And support for the development of a general series of ads and interviews about cleanup. I'll look for a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Loreen, seconded by Councillor Wood. Is there any further discussion on the item? Seeing none, we'll call to a vote then. All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. And Councillor Salatki, you're welcome to come back on screen now if you like. And on to our new item 8.7, the Midnight Sun Complex Pool Rehabilitation Project, Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program Contribution Agreement. So a lot of words for some really good news. Basically, this contribution agreement means that we have received the funding we need to move forward with the pool. SAO Hood, I don't know if you want to add anything here before we put the motion on the table.
All I can say is that it's a happy day. Now we have to get it fixed. And just for council's information, and we'll be sending a public update probably in late next week on where we are, but just so council is aware, we have been having regular scheduled meetings with the engineering firm and also the pool, master pools, as preparing for the project. As with our utility project, there is some issues with supplies of getting things. The factory that does a lot of the PVC pellets or whatever it is in Texas with the power outage are having to repipe their whole factory because without the power, all the liquid in that basically solidified, and so they have to redo and that. So there is some issues with getting some material, but we're working on it, and so is our supplier and master pools and that to the best that we can there. But we're just happy that we can move forward and make some concrete decisions.
Just a quick question. Is there any change to the anticipated timeline then for the pool repairs?
Right now, until we have a little more information on a few things, we're looking at least late summer, early fall. It's just there's a few other glitches that have hit us as far as being able to, because due to COVID, of getting some people up here to do certain work, and totally out of our control.
Okay, thank you.
Great. So recommendation is that Inuvik Town Council hereby approves the contribution agreement under the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program for funding in the amount of $562,500. I'll look for a mover, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor Barla.
I'll move that.
Seconded by Councillor Miro. Any further questions or comments on this item? Seeing none. All right, with that, we'll call to a vote. All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. And we do not have any bylaws this evening, so we'll go on to department head reports. We did receive 10.1, the financial report. Recommendation is that Inuvik Town Council hereby adopts the following department head report as presented. 10.1, the financial report. I will look for a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Loreen, seconded by Councillor Wainman. Are there any questions on the financial report? We do have SAO Hood on the line. See none. Oh, Councillor Wainman, go ahead.
I know I got cut off during that report last on Monday when they're doing our financial report, but I'm happy to see that we did well on our taxes. Just thought I'd add that.
Thank you. All right, are there any further questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call to a vote. All in favor? Thank you. Under information items, we had the strategic priorities chart. Were there any council concerns this evening? Deputy Mayor Barla.
Thank you. Just a quick one, and maybe I just haven't seen. I was wondering if the steaming crews have been out yet to start working on the culverts, because I see some of the water is starting to build up in a few of the usual ditches around town. So, like I said, they may have been out, and I just haven't seen them. But I was curious if they've started their work yet.
I'll speak to that. The crew has been out. They've done a number of culverts, but every time we do them, they freeze up again. So we've been just not working really hard at it, but we are at it, and I've got 2 crews scheduled for tomorrow. So
Great,
Great,
thank you.
thanks, Rick. Anything further under council concerns? Councillor Wainman, go ahead.
I want to bring forward the ambulance situation on Airport Lake with Crystal. I would like us to look into the year before. A person had an issue on Airport Lake. The ambulance went right on the Airport Lake and picked them up. And with Crystal, it took an hour and 20 minutes. They didn't come on the lake due to insurance. I understand everything, but there's got to be something we could sort out with them. Airport Lake is a small community for Inuvik. It's a lot of people out there. It was quite sad that they actually didn't know where Airport Lake Road was. They were lost. It took them an hour to show up. That's a lot of valuable time in a serious accident, and I think we should actually look into how we can fix that. As in because the ambulance can go on the ice road, but it can't go on Airport Lake, and it did before. That set precedents before. So I'd just like to, what's their orientation? Like, is there a specific orientation? Like, they should know where all the roads in the Inuvik are, at least that much, right? I'd like to see if we can get something dealt with that. It's a sad situation. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take it forward and see what information we can gather for sure. Any other items under council concerns tonight? Councillor Lorraine, did you have your hand up there before? No? Okay. All right. We do not have in camera tonight as we took care of it on Monday. And so I'll just look for a motion to adjourn, please. Made by Councillor Lorraine. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Good.
Thank
See
you.
everybody.
See you guys. Take care.
Good night, all.
Good night.